going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 29 of the Downtown Browntown podcast. I'm your host, Downtown Brown. Today, we are going to discuss the Bucks' dominating performance in Game 3. Bucks take this game 113-84. Just pure domination once again from the Bucks. After a close win in Game 1, two blowout wins for the Bucks to take a 3-0 series lead on the Miami Heat. And it's certainly looking like the series is going to end in 4 games and 5 at the absolute max. So let's go ahead and get right into it. We saw some adjustments by the Miami Heat in Game 3. They start Goran Dragic in place of Kendrick Nunn. It made sense for them. Dragic has played well in the series for the Heat. Not so much in Game 3, but he has scored the ball pretty well. He was averaging 21 points per game across Game 1 and 2 combined. So when they weren't getting much from Kendrick Nunn on the offensive end, clearly it made sense to throw Dragic in the starting lineup just to, make things a little more difficult for the Bucks on defense, or at least try to make it a little more difficult for the Bucks on D. Having Dragic handle the ball a little bit more, run those pick and rolls with Bam Adebayo, and forcing, the whoever's defending Dragic, mainly in this game, Jrue Holiday, to get through those screens and not give up open threes like we saw in Game 1 when Duncan Robinson hit 3 early 3-pointers in that game. So we saw some adjustments again from the Heat, not only on the offensive end in the starting lineup, but we also saw them play some zone defense throughout the game. Miami actually ran zone, I think they said the second most in the NBA this season, which is pretty interesting. So we saw some 2-3 zone and some 3-2 zone by the Miami Heat in this game, but it didn't make a difference. The Bucks clearly just dominated on all facets of the game. But before we get a little more later into the game, let's just start early on. Very sloppy from both sides. Bucks took a 12-4 lead early, but really just couldn't knock down any shots in the beginning of the game. Had a lot of great open looks from guys like Middleton and Jrue Holiday. Dante, Brook Lopez just couldn't knock them down. But it didn't really matter. The Bucks were just playing such great defense. I mean, it was just an absolute clinic that they put on the defensive end, and Miami just couldn't really make many shots themselves. Jimmy Butler had a nice first half, 16 points. But again, the Bucks just they held a nice lead pretty much throughout the whole entire game, even in the first quarter when things were not looking great on the offensive end. Just bad possessions, turnovers, missed shots, wide open shots at that. But the Bucks were still able to rally and finish the first quarter off 26-14 with a 12-point lead. Not even playing well at all really in that first quarter. Got to be pleased with that. And then, towards the second quarter, it was a pretty close quarter there. The Bucks had a nice run in the beginning, but then the Heat kind of came back a little bit and pretty much was neck and neck throughout the quarter. Bucks end up winning that quarter by 1 to lead by 13 points at half. Again, not a great offensive performance from Milwaukee in the first half. Really, things just weren't really clicking, and it was, it felt like we should have been up by 20, 25 points at points in points of the first half. Really, just the Bucks couldn't get it going. But again, the defense was just really carrying the whole team, and Miami was just struggling to get really any good looks. Bam was really struggling shooting from inside the paint area. They had guys like Andre Iguodala taking 3-pointers. That's what they were resorting to at this point in time because they couldn't get any open looks. We'll take an Andre Iguodala wide open 3-point shot any day. Yeah, he knocked down his first one, but in a way that was almost a good thing because maybe it gave him a little bit of confidence that he was going to make more, and he didn't make any more, and he's an awful shooter. So go ahead, give him the confidence, give him one 3-pointer and let him miss all the rest. I am all for that. Same thing with Tyler Hero. We saw Tyler Hero make his first bucket of the game, a nice mid-range 2. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Again, let Hero get his confidence. He's been awful in this whole series. And what did we see? He was pretty much awful again in the whole game was Tyler Hero shooting. What do we got here? 4 for 10 from the field, 1 for 5 from three, 9 points for Tyler Hero in 25 minutes. I mean, once again, he's clearly a bubble fraud. He has not been the same player that he was in the bubble last year. And God, they must regret not trading him for, possibly a James Harden. They were apparently not willing to part ways with Tyler Hero in some of those trades. Could have been all smoke, to be honest. But again, they've got to be kicking themselves in the foot for that. But let's get back into the game here. Second half, we really saw an onslaught from the Bucks from an offensive perspective. Shots were starting to fall, and things were just looking great. We saw Bryn Forbes hit some tough shots. Jrue Holiday was getting going from the offensive end. Chris Middleton hit some really nice three-pointers. I mean, that crossover three he had over Bam Adebayo was just silky smooth. And same with Jrue Holiday hitting a really nice three over Bam as well, kind of fading to the right a little bit on that shot too. Saw Pat Connaughton hit some shots as well. That huge 3-pointer for the Bucks to go up 24 in the game. And really, I mean, the Bucks they had it going on the offensive end in the third quarter, scoring 37 points, then to take a 26-point lead going into the fourth quarter. And really, there wasn't much that the Heat could do at that point. The Heat did cut it to, I think, 19 points at one point in time in the fourth quarter earlier on. We saw them play Nemanja Bjelica a little bit more in this game. He hit a couple really deep three-pointers and gave them a little bit of a spark on the offensive end, but Giannis just absolutely cooked him on the defensive end, and we saw that in the fourth quarter when Giannis was just continually going at him, drawing fouls consistently. I mean, the Heat were in the penalty, I think, with like 7-8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, so Giannis was just in full attack mode, going at Bjelica, and I love to see it, because we want to see Giannis hitting these free throws, especially in the fourth quarter, and for him to gain that confidence. We all saw or heard the Miami Heat crowd counting down or doing the 10-second, or just counting basically when Giannis was on the free throw line. And first off, their counting was ridiculously fast. I don't know obviously they were going to do something like that. I don't blame the Heat fans for doing that. But them counting out their seconds were not real seconds, but whatever, I didn't mind it at all. And clearly Giannis didn't. I think he hit 4 for 5 on the free throw line during that span in the fourth quarter. So again, really great to see Giannis get his confidence at the free throw line, seeing him attack in the fourth quarter, going at a mismatch in Nemanja Bjelica and just hitting those free throws when we need him to most. So really like that aggression from Giannis in the fourth quarter. And I didn't watch the game on TNT, but I know probably most people did. I watched it on Bally Sports just because I'm trying to enjoy as much Jim Paschke calls for Bucks games as I can here. I think this, game 4 could be the last one. I'm pretty sure the local broadcasts don't do games in the second round and beyond of the playoffs. So just trying to enjoy the GOAT Jim Paschke for the last couple games here. But I saw that TNT had a free throw clock on when Giannis was at the line. I mean, that's just a joke. I just don't get it. Like, would they do that for LeBron James? Hell no. They would never do that for a player like LeBron James, even Kevin Durant. Like, I just don't get, like, why everyone is just on Giannis. Like, that really frustrates me. Again, I just really don't think that any other superstar player in this league would get treated like that. I think it's just kind of a disgrace. I mean, TNT thinks it's funny, sure, fine, whatever, but like, I just don't get that at all. It's kind of annoying to me. I'm sure I'm going to see it in later rounds because I won't be able to watch on Bally Sports. But anyways, doesn't matter. The Bucks absolutely demolished the Heat. Again, 29-point win in game 3. I said last episode, this was going to be the hardest game for the Bucks to win because the Heat were going to play desperate. They needed to win this game for them to have any chance in the series. Teams that are down 3-0 in any playoff series in the NBA are 0-140 in those series. So obviously no one's won, and the Bucks are going to close this one out, whether that's in 4 games or 5 at the absolute most. And that's all that I care about. So just an absolute clinic by the Bucks. You know, the Heat did come out with some aggression on defense. I thought they were very active, getting their hands in passing lanes, just trying to swat the ball out of our guys' hands. You know, guys like Brook Lopez in the second quarter of that game, I remember like he just couldn't hold on to the ball a couple of times. We had some really bad possessions early on in that quarter, and it's just like I feel like we just couldn't hold on to the ball a lot of times. Usually that's Chris Middleton, who can be a little shaky with the ball at times, but Brook was having a hard time keeping his hands on the ball there. But, you know, again, just absolute dominance by the Bucks. I mean, our defense has just been absolutely elite throughout this series. We saw that the Bucks went with that dead switching lineup. Death switching lineup of Giannis at the 5 and Tucker at the 4. I think it was Drew, Chris, and then I can't remember who the other guy was in at that time. It might have been Pat Connaughton, to be honest, but it doesn't really matter. The only thing that really matters is that just in that lineup, Giannis being at the 5 and Tucker being at the 4, Bucks were switching 1 through 5, and it gave them Miami Heat a lot of fits. I mean, Tucker is just – his defense in this game, I thought, was absolutely outstanding, maybe his best, maybe besides game 1, but it's been great all series. But anyways, I mean, Tucker was just giving guys fits on the defensive end. Again, Jimmy Butler had a really hard time on him. And even though that PJ Tucker still gets a terrible whistle, I mean, the refs have been a joke all series, really on both ends. I mean, the Bucks have gotten some favorable calls. The Heat have gotten favorable calls as well. But I mean, all in all, the refs have been an absolute joke this whole series. I really hope that doesn't continue in the next series against the Nets. But anyways, again, it was really nice to see the Bucks go with that 1 through 5 switching lineup of Giannis at the 5 and Tucker at the 4. I think that's going to be really crucial for the Bucks in that series against the Nets when they're probably going to play small most of the time, you know, with Kevin Durant playing the 5 or maybe Blake Griffin playing the 5, KD at the 4. You can swap those two interchangeably. And then, you know, guys like Kyrie, Joe Harris, Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, who actually I saw is out for 10 days with a foot injury. But again, really nice to see the Bucks go with that switching lineup, and they just have so many tools in their toolbox on the defensive end. You know, we can play that lineup where we go small. We can play lineups where we go big. Brook Lopez has been huge for the Bucks in this series, just affecting shots at the rim, you know, boxing guys out, getting rebounds, and just making it easier for the Bucks, and especially on the offensive glass. He's been huge for the Bucks in that, from that aspect in the entire series. I mean, again, in this game, the Bucks out rebound the Heat 55-42. I mean, we saw that Miami, especially in that third quarter when they were kind of felt like they were making a push in the game, but really the score didn't show it. You could tell the crowd was getting into it a little more, and they were starting to make some shots and getting more active on the offensive glass. You saw Bam pick up a couple offensive rebounds, Jimmy Butler as well. But anyways, still the Bucks out rebounding the Heat by 13. Bucks had 10 offensive rebounds in the game and Heat had 7. So we still out rebounded them on the offensive glass as well. And, you know, like I said, when you've got Brook Lopez in there, I mean, they're running Bam Adebayo at the center, Dwayne Dedmon at times. I mean, there's no way they're going to be able to out rebound the Bucks in any game in this series. And that's really a really important thing for the Bucks. You know, rebounding is huge in this game. Being able to get stops is one thing, but if you can't get rebounds, you know, giving teams opportunities for second chance points is just really deflating, and having to, you know, play 24 seconds of great defense and then, you know, giving up an offensive rebound and having then to play 14 more tough seconds on defense is tough. You know, it takes more energy. It gets a little harder on you mentally when you're like, damn, we just played great defense, but we can't grab a rebound. Now we got to do it again. So the Bucks have really marginalized the Heat on the offensive glass in this series. And I think that's really going to be huge, and something that we could also see continue in round 2 against the Brooklyn Nets. Again, if we've got Brook Lopez playing in that game, he should be able to pick up a lot of rebounds if they're not playing DeAndre Jordan much at the center, which I don't think they will, because clearly Giannis absolutely exposed him in those 2 games in the regular season towards the end of the season there. So again, just a great performance from the Bucks on the in terms of rebounding. And I really think that that's something that they can continue throughout the rest of the playoffs with the rotations that they have. But anyways, just going back to their defensive versatility, they've got that depth switching lineup of 1 through 5 where they can switch Giannis at the 5, Tucker at the 4, throw Jrue Holiday, Chris Middleton, and someone else in there. And they've also got that big lineup with Brook Lopez at the center, Giannis at the 4, and then that's usually our starting lineup. With Jrue, Dante, and Middleton. And, they just got so many other pieces on the defensive end as well, with PJ Tucker being able to go into any of those defensive lineups and make an immediate impact. I really, really like Bryn Forbes' defense so far this series as well. I mean, if you just watch him on defense, he's really playing with a lot of energy and really sticking on guys and moving his feet really well and just giving a lot of effort on defense, which sometimes that's just what it takes is effort. You don't have to be the most skilled defender at times, but if you're really playing hard, moving your feet, getting your hands up, and just getting in guys' faces and making it more difficult for them to make shots, I mean, that's sometimes all it takes. You don't have to be the most skilled defensive player in the world. It's just a lot of times that effort really can be the thing. And Bryn Forbes has certainly given that effort on the defensive end, and I really think it's making an impact. And not only that, Bryn Forbes has really rebounded well the last couple games. I think he had 6 rebounds last game, could be 1 or 2 off there. He had only 3 rebounds this game, but again, he's just been a lot more active on the rebounding game, picking up some tough rebounds in key situations. And that's just been, something that is just going to make him more valuable throughout this postseason run for the Bucks. I mean, we all know he's a 3-point sniper. He finished with 11 points tonight, 4 for 8 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3. I'll take that all day. Not bad at all. I mean, it's not the 22 points in game 2 with 4 3-pointers in the first quarter, but still, I mean, Bryn Forbes made an impact on this game outside of his shooting ability. And I think that's really important for this Bucks team and could be really important down the road here, especially knowing that Dante DiVincenzo got injured in the second quarter of this game and did not return. It is deemed to be a left foot contusion for Dante. It's a little worrisome, to be honest, because he's had some foot issues in the past 2 years that kept him out a lot of his rookie season, and it was lingering a little bit even into his second season. But again, it was a weird play. It didn't really look like Dante did much or stepped awkwardly or anything like that, but you could tell he was in pain right away. He went to the scorers table and smacked his hand on there because he was frustrated. So clearly Dante was in a lot of pain after that, and them deeming him to be out for the rest of the game pretty soon after he got injured is a clear sign that he was in some pain. So obviously we hope the best for Dante and hope he doesn't miss an extended period of time in this playoffs. I mean, I know he hasn't played particularly well on the offensive end, but still his defense is going to be valuable for this team, especially in round 2 against a guy like Kyrie Irving, who is going to be very, very tough to defend, as we all know. And I think Dante is just a great matchup for him because Dante's quick, he's got good feet, and he can just get a good cardio workout in on defense and really make Kyrie Irving work. Kyrie Irving has probably the best handles in the league, maybe behind Steph Curry. I think he's got the best handles in the league personally. But so he's going to cook anyone pretty much, but still just making it harder on players like Kyrie is something that we need. And I think Dante fits that role really well. So really hope that Dante is going to be okay. We'll see what happens for game 4. It's an early tip-off, 12:30 Central Time. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if Dante misses game 4, but that's fine. We've got guys to fill in his shoes for that game. I just really hope that he's not going to miss any time in the second round. And really hoping that the Bucks can sweep the Heat here and just get ready for that Nets series, get healthy, and get ready for an absolute battle. Because these last couple of games against the Heat have been really physical. I think the Heat are just hacks. I mean, they swatted us all the time, and just bodies are banging on the floor, and they also plays some really tough screens. Bam Adebayo specifically, just really, really tough screens on Jrue Holiday and Giannis. And it just worries me that, I just hope something doesn't happen. And clearly, again, seeing Dante get hurt is concerning, but really hope we could finish off this Heat team and just get healthy and get ready for the Nets. But again, T's and P's out to Dante. I don't expect him to be out for long. It didn't look like anything too crazy, but I'm not a doctor, so don't quote me on that. We will see what happens going forward. But again, we've got guys to fill his role, especially if it's just one more game here against the Heat. I would expect Bryn Forbes to start in game 4 if Dante is out of the lineup. We did see Bryn Forbes start the second half of this game when Dante was ruled out. So I would like to think that they would continue that. I think Bryn Forbes fits in really well with the starting unit and makes it even harder for them to defend the Bucks starting 5 because Bryn is just a sniper and can hit really tough threes off the dribble and off of screens where he's, stopping on the dime and hitting these tough, turnaround 3-pointers. So it's just going to make the Bucks even more versatile on the offensive end. So expect to see that going forward. And, the Bucks are just going to have to play their guys a little bit more minutes. Pat Connaughton will probably get more minutes if Dante's out. Same with PJ Tucker. Maybe we'll see a little bit of Jeff Teague sprinkled in there. We saw him play today early on in the fourth quarter and just in garbage time. So not really any valuable minutes for Jeff Teague in this series so far, but I wouldn't be surprised if they sprinkle him in a little bit just to see what he can do and maybe prepare him for the next series if Dante's going to miss a little bit more time than we would like. So again, besides that, just a flawless game for the Bucks. I mean, their defense, again, I can't credit them enough for how versatile we are in defense, being able to throw multiple different lineups at them and just cause absolute fits for the Miami Heat. They just don't have an answer for this Bucks defense. And clearly it's showing because they're really struggling to score the ball. I mean, the Miami Heat are averaging easily less than 100 points per game in this series. We gave up 107 in game 1, I think 98 in game 2, and then 84 in game 3. I mean, their total number just continues to go down, and credit to the Bucks on defense. You couldn't expect anything better. And there's really not much to point out there from a schematic perspective. It's just, we are just hunting them on defense, getting in their face, making it tough for them to get any open shots. And clearly it's making an impact. So let's go to the offensive end a little bit. We'll start with Jrue Holiday. I thought he had a great game tonight. 34 minutes for Jrue, 19 points, 7 for 10 from the field, and 2 for 4 from 3. Really efficient night offensively for Jrue Holiday. Again, he's a guy who really isn't as aggressive as he should be at times, but he really knows when to pick his spots on offense and when to try and create his own shot or get to the rim versus times when he knows to get other players involved. I think he's just great as, that guy to run the offense and really know when it's his time to attack versus when it's his time to distribute. And clearly we saw that again tonight in game 3. Jrue Holiday with 12 assists in this game, 3 rebounds as well. I mean, he made some really, really nice passes. I really like the one we saw to Pat Connaughton I think it was early on in the fourth quarter when he just whipped it with his left hand to Pat in the top corner there, and he just drilled the 3-pointer. I mean, Jrue is such an underrated passer, and he is really taking command of this offense in this series. And again, that's something that we did not have the last 2 postseasons when Eric Bledsoe was running the offense. I mean, he was not even close to the passer that Jrue Holiday is, and clearly it's so much better for this Bucks team to have a guy in control that you can really trust with the ball. You can never trust Eric Bledsoe with the ball, but Jrue is the complete opposite of that. And really the last 2 games of this series, he has just absolutely controlled the pace of the offense and really just made some great plays and got guys open for good shots. And again, just hats off to Jrue Holiday for a great performance in this game. It was nice to see his 3-pointer come alive a little bit in the game as well. 2 for 4 from 3, as I said earlier, had that really nice 3-pointer over Bam Adebayo in the third quarter. So again, just love what I saw from Jrue Holiday again. And he continues to impress me game in and game out. We'll go to Giannis next. 33 minutes for Giannis, 17 points, 6 for 12 from the field, 0 of 2 from 3. 17 rebounds, 5 assists, and 1 steal. And the most important stat usually with Giannis, free throws, 5 for 7 from the line. Again, Giannis had a good game, efficient, 50% from the field, 5 for 7 from the free throw line. I'll take that all day. That is a solid percentage for Giannis, and not going to complain with that whatsoever. Again, Giannis just didn't have to do a whole lot on offense, which is crazy to me. Like, we won this game by 29 points, and Giannis had 17 points, only put up 12 shot attempts. I mean, that's crazy. Like, we would not have won games like that in the past when Giannis was just not, dominating from an offensive perspective. And again, it's just something that really makes this Bucks team a lot more difficult to deal with. When you've got guys like Jrue Holiday who can put up 30 on any given night, Chris Middleton now kind of being, he's the second or third option on offense. Doesn't really matter. You could go either way on that, but just having a big three just makes such of a difference for this team. And really that bench scoring as well, with a Bobby Portis, Bryn Forbes, just being consistent scorers off the bench, it gives more opportunities for other guys to get shots up, and these are guys that we want them to get shots up. I like when Bobby Portis is aggressive on offense. Obviously, Bryn Forbes, we want him shooting 3-pointers. We want him attacking and creating plays for himself, because that's what he does best. And we've got Jrue Holiday who picks his spots and does things really well from an offensive creation perspective. So again, in terms of Giannis, just a really solid game for him. His defense was great. I really like to see that he went and tried to make some of those mid-range shots, those fadeaway mid-range shots. He made both of them. I think he maybe missed one, but he made 2 of them for sure. And that's a shot that we saw him hit consistently against the Brooklyn Nets, especially in the first game of that little 2-game matinee series. But again, I like to see him hit that shot, because we want him to get more confidence in hitting that fadeaway mid-range shot, because if he can hit that, good luck rest of the NBA. The dude is already unstoppable. And if he hits that, just like I said, good luck. It's over. So again, just a great game from Giannis all around. Didn't have to do too much, didn't have to exert too much energy on the offensive end. Again, 33 minutes for him. That's great. And again, it's just really nice to see him play efficient basketball and do what he had to do, and not kill himself by running himself into the ground like we've seen in years past. So just really love what I saw from Giannis in the game tonight. Chris Middleton, I thought, played fantastic. Leading scorer for the Bucks, 22 points in 34 minutes, 8 for 16 from the field for Chris, 3 for 9 from 3, and hit all of his free throws. And then also 8 rebounds for Chris and 5 assists. He made some really tough shots in this game. We've saw consistently through the series that the Bucks are going at Duncan Robinson on the defensive end. And a lot of times that's Chris Middleton, because Duncan has been guarding Chris a lot in this series. And again, Chris just hit some really tough shots right in Duncan's face. And it's just great to see his confidence hitting those mid-range shots, 3-pointers. I really love what I'm seeing Chris all around in this series from an offensive perspective. His shot selection has been hit or miss at times. I don't love the early shot clock shots. I really never will, especially when we're up a lot in the game. It's like, just chill, like run the offense still, at least, get the shot clock down to 5-4 seconds and then get up a shot. Don't need to pull up these early 3-pointers right when we're getting down past half court. But again, Chris made some great shots, and he's just been really, really solid on the offensive end for the Bucks this series. And again, he's really the X factor for this team if we want to make the NBA Finals, in my opinion. If Chris Middleton is averaging, close to 25 points a game, I just don't see any way how the Bucks, don't have a great chance to run through the nets and get to the finals if Chris is playing that well on the offensive end. So again, just really like what I saw from Chris Middleton on the offensive end. Defensively as well, I think he's played great in this series, making it hard for guys like Duncan Robinson to put up shots and just being active on the defensive end. So all in all, really, really solid game from Chris. And I really hope that continues in the next series against the Brooklyn Nets. We'll touch on Brook Lopez a little bit. Solid game for him, 13 points in 27 minutes, 6 for 11 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3, 5 boards and 2 blocks. I thought Brook played pretty well on the offensive end tonight. He took some tough shots. I don't love his shot selection at times either when he's shooting those like fadeaway jumpers off of one leg, like the Dirk Nowitzki shot. I mean, he hits them a lot of the time, but still don't love it. But again, I thought Brook played really well on the offensive end, just being a disruptor in the paint and being able to knock down tough shots in the paint, those little hook shots. And again, he didn't shoot inefficiently from the field. 6 for 11 is great for Brook. I just really like what I saw from him this series throughout, both offensively and defensively. He's really been a pest for them on the defensive end, and he's been utilized in the post a lot more. I don't love when he's shooting a lot of 3-pointers. He only shot 1 and missed it this game. But again, we saw in that last game against the Heat in the regular season, second last game for the Bucks, Brook Lopez 9 for 10 from the field, didn't attempt a 3-pointer. All of his shots were basically in the paint. That's what we need to see from him. And I think he could really take advantage of the Brooklyn Nets next series, like I said earlier, because they don't play with a lot of size, especially if they're not playing DeAndre Jordan. Brook should be able to feast in the paint in that series. And I really like to see Bud just making adjustments and really just utilizing the players to their skill sets. We all know that Brook was an all-star back in the day on the Brooklyn Nets, putting up 20 and 10 a game, just dominating in the paint. He didn't shoot threes at all at that point in his career. Obviously, he's a lot older now and a lot slower, as we can tell when he's out on the court, but he still has that ability to score in the paint at will. And I just love to see Bud utilize the players to their best advantages and make it really tough on teams that go small like Miami and presumably Brooklyn in round 2. So really love what I saw from Brook there on the offensive end. We'll touch on the bench a little bit. PJ Tucker, 23 minutes, 5 points, 2 for 4 from the field, hit 1 corner 3, missed another one as well. So 1 for 2 from 3 for PJ. Not much to report for PJ on the offensive end. He just plays within his role, and I really love to see that. He pretty much sits in the corner the whole time, but I'm fine with that because he is the best corner 3 shooter from a percentage perspective in the last 5 years in the league. So he can clearly knock down that shot, and I like to see him hit it. I really love when he's taking those shots because I really feel like it's going to go in every time. So again, we all know PJ Tucker's impact is on the defensive end, and anytime he hits a shot, it's great. So great stuff from PJ Tucker. I like what I saw from Bobby Portis tonight as well. 17 minutes for him, 11 points, 5 for 7 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, and 9 boards for Bobby. I mean, in 17 minutes to put up 11 and 9, that's absolutely fantastic. I mean, he was so efficient tonight from an offensive perspective. His floater in the paint has just been a gem for the Bucks all season. And his minutes off the bench, again, being that efficient and just be a guy coming off the bench, being able to give him the ball and pretty much know that he's going to put it in the bucket is just huge. And I love his minutes in this series. I thought he's been fantastic pretty much the whole entire series. And again, he's just another guy that we have on this team that, you can just trust that he's going to be able to make plays offensively. And I think he's played fairly well on defense as well. He's a bigger guy. He can move his feet pretty well. He's not going to get exposed too much. He can be utilized in those switching lineups as well. And again, just all around great performance by Bobby Portis off the bench tonight. I've already touched on Bryn Forbes. Pat Connaughton, 18 minutes for him, 9 points, 3 for 6 from the field, and 3 for 5 from 3, and 3 boards and an assist for Pat. I thought he played really, really well tonight once again. Hit some really big threes. He had that banked 3-pointer. Obviously, that was very lucky. He got fouled on that play as well, which was just ridiculous that they didn't call that. But anyways, the shot went in, so didn't really care at that time. But again, Pat just has been solid throughout the whole series. He's a great cutter off the ball, and he had a really, really nice pass to PJ Tucker in the corner when he hit his only 3-pointer in the game. I mean, Pat just knows where to be on offense and just always seems to make the right play. And that's why I say he's been a valuable player for the Bucks all season, because a lot of his impact is not seen in the box score. He's always active on the rebounds, which is seen in the box score. And like I said, he just makes good plays and has just been really solid role player for the Bucks all season. Yeah, his shooting's been hot and cold, but pretty much everyone's shooting has been hot and cold this season. So again, this is just such a prime Pat Connaughton game. A lot of impact that we've seen from him in the regular season was seen in this game tonight. And, he's probably going to play a bigger role if Dante is to miss any time. So I like that Pat's been in a rhythm throughout the whole series and getting consistent minutes. And I think that's really going to bode well for the Bucks, especially if Dante is out. So really like what I saw from Pat. Again, for the rest of the guys, they didn't get enough minutes to really report on anything. So I'm not gonna go down there. But I mean, couldn't say it any more times that this was just an absolute clinic by the Milwaukee Bucks in this game. And they really just played so well throughout the entire game. Even when they were struggling in the first quarter, they just had control of the game throughout. And the Heat seem to be dead at this point. I mean, I think we're going to sweep them. I would be surprised if we lose game 4 after the way we've dominated the last 2 games, specifically game 3 when Miami was going to be hungry. Those fans were rocking tonight, really loud. I mean, it's the biggest crowd in the NBA playoffs so far. But again, the Bucks will have 16,500 fans in the arena for the rest of the playoffs if they fill all those seats. So really glad to see that the Bucks upped their timeline for increasing the capacity, because we really need to get some more fans in there and have more of a home court advantage, especially against the Nets in round 2. So again, just an amazing performance by the Bucks. The Heat made adjustments, starting Dragic, playing zone on defense, going with Bjelica more and not playing Ariza as much. And none of those things did anything for them. I mean, Spoelstra is a great coach, but he just doesn't have the roster to compete with this Bucks team. And I think everyone knows it at this point. I did not expect us to blow them out. I thought it was going to be a close game. I predicted 118-110 Bucks win, but clearly I was wrong. And I'm so glad that I was wrong, because just seeing the Bucks just dominate this Heat team and getting their monkey off the back that they had after the bubble last season, and just not being afraid of this Heat team, not tanking at the end of the regular season to avoid Miami in round 1. Felt like they wanted Miami in round 1. And I think it's really going to bode well for them throughout the rest of the playoffs, playing a legitimate team in Miami, getting playoff ready for a super team in Brooklyn in round 2 versus Brooklyn playing an absolutely just beat up Boston Celtics team at this point, who has just been very disappointing all season. So again, I think things are just really pointing up for the Bucks, and they're going to be a tough out against any team, assuming that they can keep advancing in the playoffs here. So just a great performance to watch by the Bucks, and can't wait to see them hopefully sweep the Miami Heat on Saturday at 12:30 p.m. Central. Can't wait to watch that one. That's all I've got for you guys today. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. Again, if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you can stay up to date on all of my future content as it is posted. I will be doing an episode hopefully after every single game. I've kept true to that statement so far. So again, I really hope you've enjoyed the episode. And again, if you haven't already as well, make sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at downtown_Brown33 on Instagram and downtown_Brown on Twitter, all lowercase there. So if you want to stay up to date on all my content, make sure to check me out on those social media platforms as well. Thanks again, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and go Bucks.